Hmm.
Do I look like a complete sociopath?
Absolutely.
Good.
Not at all.
Definitely don't look like you might snap at any second.
All right.
If you snap, I'm here for it.
By which you mean catching it on camera, which is really the most important part of any good mental breakdown,
Yeah.
is its broadcast viability.
What else could I possibly mean by I'm here for it?
I don't know. Yeah, I played some real ass games, but I tell you what, the thing that I spent the most time on over the last week was not new, not fresh, not hot.
Go on.
That was Bravely Second. I gotta catch up on the second game before BD2 comes out, and Jesus fucking Christ, there's just, you don't like I've mentioned before how the combat system and the mechanics are basically lovingly crafted and designed by the team over in Japan for me specifically. Like I keep expecting to look back at my old email chains and find like a series of them that I had between myself and the developers, because it's extremely targeted towards myself and my brain.
I can't believe they called a game that.
Bravely Second. Bravely Default.
Also a stupid name, but obviously very mechanically linked to the game.
Oh yeah, no, they you kind of wonder whether they came up with the goofy ass name or the system first, or like, you know, chicken or egg or both.
Do you think that was just placeholder text that somebody with a vague grasp of English translated from Japanese, and then they never got around to switching it to something cooler than, you know, either on this turn you are either brave or you default?
It's hard to say. I think they had an idea that they wanted it to like reflect those two elements of the battle, and then they made up that text and it's like, we can think of something better later. But I'm guessing the Japanese team saw it and was like, oh, that's rad as hell. Keep that forever. And we're like, okay, I guess, sure, man. Cause we're fascinated with words in other languages. They're fascinated with words in other languages, and they fucking love English. But it's like a weird, it's not the English we know. It's the kind that they can neatly slot into their own language. And so they have like a fan fiction idea of English that they've adapted. I'm 90% speaking directly out of my butthole at this point. Like I'm not like the authority on this shit, but like my understanding as I've read quite casually is that like their grasp of English is like kind of on the same level as us in our need to get Asian style tattoos. You know what I mean? We put like, oh, look at this cool shit that's on my arm forever. That definitely doesn't mean chicken soup.
I mean, you've definitely got the most weeb cred out of the three of us. But I have certainly seen plenty of Reddit threads where it's pictures of signage or t-shirts from Japan that make little to no practical sense, but are amazing slogans anyway.
They are. They have the spirit of the language, which is really the most important thing. Even if the syntax and the assemblage is somewhat distant from the reality, they understand the power of certain words and they're ready to wield them.
I'll probably just call this episode one of those slogans. Find a random one. You know what I've really noticed since COVID? What an incredible percentage of people slam their doors. Like, are they aware that you don't have to slam a door in order to close it?
Yeah,
everybody.
Man.
Upstairs, downstairs, across the hall, down the hall.
Right.
me out of pure rage. You know, it doesn't matter. Everybody's doing it.
Well,
yeah.
Basically, if nobody calls them on it, they'll just keep doing it forever. And sometimes even after you call them on it, because they're all, oh, well, it's my God-given right to break this fucking door, or like try to every time I leave for work. And it's just, no, man, it's not like that.
Let's slam this thing right off the fucking hinges.
Yeah. Mine are in metal frames, so a little more difficult to destroy. Also, I don't want to slam a door because what if my dumbass cat is in the middle of it? Like, you know what I mean? Like even if I'm like very slowly, gently closing in the morning to not wake up my fiance, he will sort of like walk by and sort of like brush his tail in between the door and the frame right as I'm closing it, like every time, literally every time in the morning. So I can't slam it or else I'd break his tail and he would never forgive me. Also at 7 in the morning. What am I, a fucking animal? Raising a barn? Jesus.
Well, you don't live in my building, so I guess you don't slam your door at 7 a.m. But
it's part of the when you sign the lease for the building you live in, there's a little clause that's default checked off, so you have to go to uncheck, which is that you will slam your door at every possible opportunity until we have to buy new doors.
I believe it just says fuck around at every opportunity. Pre-checked.
With really no one's in any danger of finding out, so to speak. No matter how much they fuck around.
You just bury it somewhere on page 34 and
yeah.
I often quit by then, so you know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. It's just too much, man.
Basically just try to edit the door slams out of my audio. That's about it. That's basically it. So with the last episode of the podcast, I did a little experiment.
Okay.
I took some of those predictions that we did and chopped those up into little clips and posted those on the channel with varying levels of clickbait titles.
Okay.
Just to see what would happen.
All right.
The Halo one in particular, I clickbaited the shit out of that one with the title in all caps, "Is Halo doomed?" and a very trolly thumbnail with Craig the Brute. And what I've determined is that our viewership on the channel, they do not want that shit.
Yeah.
The thumb down hammer was in full effect. I had to pull it. We're at like a 15-to-1 dislike to like ratio, so nothing to do with the content, just with how trolly it was.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's good to know that the blade is still sharp, even if it's too dangerous to wield it most of the time.
If we have any particularly spicy takes, I'm willing to bring that blade back out, unsheath it, so to speak. But in the meantime, it's good to know we've got a higher caliber of listener/watcher on our YouTube channel.
They don't
that will not take that shit. They didn't even bother to watch what we were saying, which was completely reasonable. They just saw Craig and that was it. That was enough. That's fine. By the way, this is Press X the podcast, episode 3 of season 4, the face season. And if you're watching and or listening right now, please like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, click the bell if there is one. Definitely helps us out. We appreciate you. Thank you for listening.
So we're on the air.
Oh shit.
Oh, we've been doing the air. The air's been happening, man.
Do you not listen to the edited version that I post? It is literally raw. There's nothing cut. The editing room floor is completely clean. You could eat off of that.
Had to fire the broom guy. Had nothing to do.
Right. Fair enough.
So video games?
So, video games.
Rhett, I see that you've got an addiction.
Man, I can't take any more of this fucking Hades game. I can't play this anymore. I feel like I need to go to HA or something like that. I'm getting annoyed at how much I still want to play the game. I achieved what they call the Big 5-0 today, the 50th clear. And when I saw that and I saw I hit 50, I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe now I could probably put it down. There's still more going on, but I think I could probably put it down. But then sure enough, fucking Zagreus, he respawns, and then you go and you see, oh, you can talk to Father one more time, and he's got a little something extra for you, and then you can go talk to fucking Achilles and Thanatos, he's got something. Oh, and then what do you know? You got something new to do here and here, and man, I just can't keep playing this game. I can't keep doing this to myself. I don't want to play it anymore, but I am fucking addicted. It's pissed me off. That's pretty much where I'm at with that.
Okay. So you don't want to play anything but else. Also you love it.
Yeah, too much. It's gotten to the point where it's like, it's so good I hate it.
Weird. That's a weird place to be in, Rhett. But you know what? I appreciate it. I consider that praise of the highest order to the boys,
it is.
Boys and girls of Supergiant. You know,
end of the day,
they've obviously done something right.
Definitely. Would I recommend it to anybody? No. Don't stay far away. If you think you're a casual gamer, if you think that you'll be able to just pick it up here and there, you won't. You just won't.
You're playing on the Switch, right?
That's where I'm at with that. I'm playing on the Switch, and that's the thing. It runs fucking beautifully. There's been a little bit of slowdown here and there, but it's nothing that ruins things. Like, it's fucking magic, man. I think I'm going to get it on PC, too.
I think that's what saved me from being completely lost in this game, is that I only played it on PC and didn't get it on Switch, so I was limited. I had to sit down at a desk to play it, so I still played the ever-loving shit out of it, but I was able to move on.
My computer is plugged in front of a couch, and it's the monitor is just right beside the actual TV. So my fate was sealed, friends. I had no chance.
Oh no!
Devastating.
We'd be watching shit and be like, "This is pretty interesting," but you know what else is interesting is Hades. So we do two things at once, which is actually one thing. That's how I watched the entire season of Swamp Thing. Was also playing Hades. So yeah.
Was that good?
Yeah, it's nastier than I was expecting because it was on the DC Universe app before that was absorbed into HBO Max. But it's rad, man. A lot of crazy swamp madness happening. It does feel a little bit CW with like more swearing, which is basically all of DC Universe. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's terrible.
Sure. Yeah. CW, they hit it every now and then. But yeah, Hades. Fuck that game. James, I know you've been playing some stuff.
Ooh, boy, have I ever.
He's been playing some of that nasty shit.
Well, let's start with the one that Paul and I have in common. That's Cyber Shadow. Now, Cyber Shadow is made by mostly one dude. Somebody else, they had Jake Kaufman producing the soundtrack, and then somebody I've never heard of, who never listed, an amazing job actually composing music. And then this one dude designed the entire thing. I don't remember his name because I'm a bad person, but it's one guy.
Mr. Cyber Shadow, I think.
Sure. You know what? In the absence of Google in front of me, I'm going to say Mr. Cyber Shadow. And Cyber Shadow it's like all your fond memories of Ninja Gaiden that have been like run through a mixer and smoothed out, and then it's just like polished to a sheen, so that it's Ninja Gaiden the way you remember it, not the way it actually is, which is unforgiving and horrible.
Yes.
But Cyber Shadow is like the idealized rose tinted filter over top of Ninja Gaiden, where it's very hard, but you can beat it, and there's no stupid life system holding you back. You can just try a particular challenge over and over again until you succeed. And there's no, like, there's a little bit of like grinding for like currency you can do, but like it's incredibly minimal stuff. You're just like spicing up your save point whenever you get to one. That's it. It's just you and your skills. That's it. That's all there is to it. And like, oh man, you get some good stuff, and they really put the work in for you. Really make you feel like you're that badass ninja man. And also the cutscenes are amazing, even though they're basically just still framed animations. They're so good, and the music is amazing, and the game is so hard, but like in a good, fun way that makes you want to keep playing.
Yep. Yeah, you really hit the nail on the head with an idealized version of an 8-bit game that you remember fondly. And, you know, it just gets rid of all the bullshit, but keeps all the infuriating stuff, which is great. So when you're infuriated,
what does that even mean?
Because, well, you know, some boss has a cheap ass attack that pulls out in its last 10% of its health bar, right? Because that always happens in an 8-bit game, and it wipes you out. In Ninja Gaiden, you're back to the fucking beginning of the game because you're out of lives.
Yep.
In Cyber Shadow, you're back to a checkpoint. So you're never that far away, but it does a good job of balancing that and keeping you feeling like you have to execute and do well, because I found that I was definitely dying quite a bit just before I would get to the next checkpoint.
Oh yeah, it ramps up in difficulty. Sometimes I could like see it on the opposite of the screen. I'm
yes.
like, no.
And there'd be some cheap ass flying enemy that would nail you like 6 times in a row, and you're in a stun lock, you know. And next time you know how to avoid that, or you know that it's going to happen, so you can get past it. But it keeps that that need to execute and get through a section that is so critical to an 8-bit experience.
Are you getting hit with projectiles coming from off screen?
Not
so much.
Really? Not
good.
particularly.
No, that's good. That makes me want to play it more. It sounds fair. It sounds like a fair game.
Yeah, it does. One of the 8-bit conventions that it holds on to is the knockback effect, where you get hit and you're blowing back. So if you're jumping over a gap, like a pit, and somebody hits you halfway, you're fucked. That's it, man. You're in the pit. You're done.
Yeah, and it is really like a pure distillation of those very basic game mechanics, but really, really well done. You know, it's as tight and responsive as something like a NES Mega Man game, where you can really feel like you are in control of what's going on. So when there's fuckery, sometimes you're not responsible for it, but you feel like, hey, next time I'm going to have that, because I can dial in my control well enough that I can get past it.
Okay.
And I haven't beaten it yet, but
yeah,
fucking hard.
So that's what I was gonna ask.
It's really fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool thing about I don't know if it's a cool thing. Cool thing about Cyber Shadow is that you will hit a wall and you're like, no, this is impossible. How can any human being beat this boss? This guy's a machine. He's a monster. And then somehow the stars align and like you can actually make it through, and it's a fucking miracle. And then you get to the next boss and you're like, no, it's impossible. Nobody could do this. Who are these wizards posting Let's Play videos on YouTube? and then you do it. It just goes like that every time.
A lot of the time I found that like boils down to wailing on the sword strike button just fast enough to get one more hit out of that first cycle or a second cycle, so that the boss doesn't go into his little, pissed off boss mode too soon or too late.
Yeah.
You gotta,
at one point,
you gotta manage the cycle.
There's a boss that's like a crazy mechanical dragon thing that swoops in and out of the water, and then platforms will like fall down as you destroy the enemies, and they become the platforms, but they sink eventually. So you're in this crazy, intense situation. And I tried this like 30 times, and eventually I give up. I say, no, I have to look this up, because I didn't get the code until the game actually came out. So people were already posting, Let's Plays. And it was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to see how to beat this boss. And you know what? It's literally just the guy, like, gets up close and just does, like, the down strike that, like, launches fireballs in the air really, really fast. And it just, like, gets, like, a fucking half of one of his 2 health bars just right away. And it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, well, of course, if you do it that way, whatever. Fuck. Yeah, so yeah.
I love that that's possible, though.
Oh, I think that's rad.
That's so critical to a game like that. And the other game that makes me think of that is Axiom Verge, which I watched a speed run of at AGDQ a month or so ago. And like basically every boss has the ability to damage boost through the boss in some weird way so that you get behind them, and they're giant like Super Metroid bosses, so they can't turn around. And you can like get behind them so they can't hit you. And like that's baked into the game. They had the dude who made it on there, and he's like, yeah, that's intended that you can get behind. So
yeah,
I love
that's
that.
Why
kind
I
of
don't like that like knockback stuff, because you can't use your invincibility frames to just sort of like float around behind and then start like backstabbing him until he dies.
Yeah,
you need that. That's specifically what I feel like is one of the main things that the like blowback effect from getting hit is meant to combat. Unless I guess if you're like turned around and you get struck and you like get knocked back that way, but then you're like through the guy because you're going backwards. Look at me thinking of stuff already. We'll go back and play again.
Yeah, man. There's a reason that's one of the negative traits in Rogue Legacy. Like you're super light and you get blown back. Nobody wants that.
No.
Rhett, what are you eating? Just chowing down,
buddy.
Bud.
A little Rice Krispie square. M&M's.
Oh, you enormous child.
Oh.
I love it.
Hey, listen.
8 grams of sugar. 8 grams of sugar per bar. Fuck.
Speaking of childish nonsense.
That'll kill you.
The last grocery trip got those like dips granola bars. You know, the ones that are like, it's granola, it's dessert. You know, when you get your lunches when you're a kid. Coated in chocolate with like caramel inside. Yeah, that's for lunch.
Oh, yeah.
It's part of my lunch.
Take me home.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, Rhett, were you just on that Hades trip this week? Mainline in Hades?
Man, you know what else I've been doing actually? So yeah, that's really all I've been playing. I've been trying to get into Kentucky Route, but every time I fucking go to do it, I'm like, man, I got just another little room I can clear on Hades, and then it turns into 2 hours. And then the Switch is dead, and I'm not going to play it in docked. I've really hated docked mode as of late. If it's not made by Nintendo, I don't want to play it in docked. That's it.
I understand.
What I have been doing, though, I actually ripped apart my Joy-Cons, and I put replacement shells on them, the atomic purple ones.
Oh, yeah, bro.
And I changed out the buttons as well. That was actually a lot of fun. I did it on the back as well, so it's all atomic purple. And that was really cool. I've never done anything like that, and it made me nervous pulling fucking ribbon cables apart, but super rewarding when they were all done and everything was working. You go to do that test, and every button's working fine, and man, that's good shit.
That's like the
So
GBA
that's
color,
kind of what
right?
I've been up to. Yeah. That old school see-through purple.
Did you just get that on Amazon or what?
Amazon, yeah. There's this company called Extreme Rate, I believe, and they have a ton of these shells that you can choose from. They're all like $40, I want to say. And they'll come with everything you need. Little screwdrivers,
Nice.
extra screws, springs. It's all there. It's actually a lot easier to do than I thought. And I was looking up Etsy after I had done it, because so many people do these. They customize the Joy-Cons and then they sell them. The average price for them is like $200.
Whoa!
I'm like, man, that would be a pretty fucking easy business to get into. Buy a couple pairs, buy some of these kits. You'll profit like, I don't know, $80 maybe on each pair.
Damn, man. Send me some pics. I'll throw that into the video version of this.
I will,
so that people can see.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a cool little weekend project.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun with it.
James, are you drinking out of a chalice?
Yes, it's my goblet. It's a birthday gift.
Nice.
Makes me feel regal,
Fuck, that's
like a king would.
It looks heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
Nice.
Makes
So
your
classy.
beverage of choice taste more expensive?
It does. It does. Anything you drink out of it feels like you're some sort of like, like an old king in like a medieval story who's like, fill this goblet with wine, and a little guy in like livery comes up with a wineskin and he pours it in. He's like, he swirls it around like he doesn't give a fuck how much of it spills. Just like downs the entire thing. I'm like, no, tell me this thing you're talking about, and I'll decide whether or not to kill you. It's that kind of goblet. It's good. I like it.
That gave me a lot of insight into your like week to week doings, James.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna be doing
Court Jester Spider-Man mug to go with that.
Yeah. If you're gonna be nice. If you're gonna drink at home, either by yourself or with a screen full of people, you gotta do it classy. All right, you gotta roll out the carpet, man.
That's the thing I don't think we realized
amp.
at the beginning of 2020 when this whole COVID business was happening, is
Mm.
that you really have to develop a Zoom bit. You got to have a thing that you can play up when you're on your Zoom, because otherwise it's just a nightmare.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
And look at this
Very
guy.
good
He's
point.
been practicing.
Yeah, I'm on Amazon now. Oh, these are pretty nice actually. Here's a 2-pack, $90 though. Oh, Red Dragon goblet. That's fucking nice.
All right. I would love to drink out of one of the movie props from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The fake Holy
yeah.
Grails. Those giant bejeweled chalices. That would be amazing. Anyways, video games.
new games.
Still a thing.
Yep.
Despite what we've been talking about.
I know.
And I didn't really play anything new, but I dove into some PS Plus backlog.
Yeah.
A little bit of Game Pass backlog, and found some good shit. Go ahead, Rhett.
Okay.
That
Pray
was
tell.
that was a deep.
I was
That was a deep
sorry,
inhale.
I was gonna say, yeah, that made me think about Alan Wake. I know that they've got Control Ultimate. Is it for free? It's on PS Plus for free right now?
Control Ultimate Edition is free on PS5 right now, and I did touch that.
That's a good deal.
I got a fucking bone to pick though.
Yeah. What's that? What's your problem with the Ultimate Edition on PS5? Is it? Yeah.
Free, great, and it looks beautiful. The ray tracing
Okay.
is awesome. It really ups the quality of the whole visual presentation. Like there's a 60 frames mode or there's a ray tracing mode. Definitely go with the ray tracing mode. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
But
Okay. But
But if you've played the PS4 version, you cannot transfer your save.
Devastating.
So as much as I love Control and as much as I wanted to play it again, I really wanted to just go back and play some of that Alan Wake DLC.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
fuck me, I guess. Looks like we're starting from scratch.
yeah.
It's a goddamn good game, though. Control's
downloaded
amazing.
it.
Great. And I bet it runs beautifully on PS5, eh?
Looks so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So that's been
we really should have put that on our Games of the Generation list. Idiots.
It's been the one thing going back and playing the Alan Wake experience on the PS4. I guess the two things. Going back and not knowing how to play the game again, I kind of just had to put my head down and barrel through the first hour or so of that Alan Wake experience.
Yeah.
And I've really been struggling with how choppy it is. How much it really does struggle to maintain its frame rate. And it only is 30 frames, isn't it?
At best on the PS4.
At
Yeah.
best, yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I think I'll play it on the 5 when I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, for me, Control doesn't necessarily make game of the generation conversation because it was, for me, unplayable until you got to the PS5 because I had a base PS4 and you cannot run Control on a base PS4.
Yeah.
It looks like garbage. And but on the 5, ooh baby. Ooh, runs like a dream, baby.
Yeah, it really does. It barely drops frames. Maybe if you do some really crazy shit right in front of the camera, you might lose a few, but it's barely noticeable. Both modes. It's yeah, definitely the way to play it if you haven't played it. But I fell off that pretty quick because, well, I didn't really want to invest the 15 hours to get back to the DLC again. Not immediately anyway. So I decided to play some Bugsnax.
Ooh.
Oh, fuck yeah. You want to talk about games of the generation. Early contender?
We'll see. We'll see, like 5 years down the road, if it holds up. I think this is an underrated game, though. And
really?
Not because of the bug catching. I think the Bugsnax catching is actually the worst part of the game.
Okay, so what's the best part of the game? Where does it really shine?
It's the writing.
Oh.
And that's something that, you'd probably suspect from Young Horses, looking back at Octodad and some of their other stuff, that they have some clever writing chops. But a lot of it isn't that it's just funny. Obviously, there's some funny lines and, all the characters have funny names. But there's a lot of pretty real content where the characters in Bugsnax are going through some real shit. And they're talking to you about it. You're a journalist in this game, so a lot of the time you're doing interviews with people. And it gets pretty real. It's getting into like adult relationship issues and the things that tear people apart and bring them back together. And there's some really interesting stuff there that is literally what's driving me forward in the game. And catching the Bugsnax is what stands in the way a lot of the time. I don't want to catch any more Bugsnax. I don't want to have to, put down a launcher pad and then put the bug catcher on top of the launcher pad and then throw the bug catcher into the air and at the same time, shoot out the thing that knocks down the Bugsnax so that it flies out of the air. Like, fuck, I don't want to do all that shit.
Right, because what's the context? Like, so you do all that and then it leads to you having a bug affair? What's going on?
No.
No,
I wish.
Is that too adult for it?
That's too adult. That's adults only.
Too adult for it?
Bug fucking.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, most of the time, to advance the story, the people are asking for, I want 3 of this Bugsnax. Or, I really want one of these Bugsnax. You're like, all right, well, I'll go over to the desert and I'll catch all those snacks and then I'll come back to you and we'll talk. But really, I just want to talk to Wigglebottom about her singing career. That's really what I want to do in this game.
I see, right. And maybe the manager's getting a little too touchy-feely, and then you have to step in. Yeah, something like that.
I'm not going to give it away.
Too adult.
I'm not going to give it away, man.
Well, now I'm intrigued.
You got to play it yourself.
I will say, I think you're the... Yeah, oh yeah, I will. I think you're the only person that has given this game any sort of praise. So,
like I said, I don't think it's doing itself any favors with a lot of the mechanical stuff that you're doing. Obviously, the snacks themselves are very clever. Have I ever loved watching a flaming marshmallow with graham cracker wings flap around? More than this? No. This is the best I've seen. Okay. Do I want to go to the rigmarole of catching that thing? No, I just want to watch it fly around. And then I want to go talk to my buddy Gramble about his weird love for
about his camp counselor.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I'm done.
Like there's one character who's running around who's this like fake influencer who just wants all the dirt on everybody and makes you go on missions where you dig up dirt about what this person's doing at midnight. It's good shit, man. Bugsnax. Don't sleep on it.
Oh, okay.
Just don't expect too much mechanically.
I'm going to play through Control first, and then we'll go on to Bugsnax. What do you say?
Yeah. Get your mechanical fill in Control first. That's definitely the way to go. Yeah, should I keep going, or James, you wanna throw something on the pile here?
Well, by the time this episode drops, the unbelievably complicated NDA for Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury will have released me from its iron grip, and I can speak freely about the game and all of its, all of its vagaries and whatnot. Listen, it's the same song and dance anytime they take a Wii U game and bring it to the Switch. We all have to pretend like it didn't come out 5 or 6 years ago, and you can just look up right now, right this second, exactly what goes on in 80% of the game's runtime. It's very strange. We all just agree to be like, no, the Wii U version doesn't exist. Nobody's ever played this game before. Nobody has any idea what Super Mario 3D World is like. And if you breathe a word about this, we'll break your fucking legs. And I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, fine. But also, here's the thing about this 2-pack. This is one brand new DLC-sized, expansion-sized adventure full of totally fresh content. And then the other game is the 2013 release in its entirety with nothing changed or altered whatsoever. It scales up nicely for better looking televisions, like runs in my 4K like a dream, that all that nonsense. But like, this is the 2013 game. You've played this, you know this. I'd never played it, so it was fresh and fun and cool for me. I ran through it, I loved it, I thought it was a blast. If you've never played 3D World before, oh God, the Nintendo polish on display is just unbelievable. Everything is slick and beautiful, and even just little things like jumping on Goombas feels amazing, and running feels amazing, and getting powers feels amazing, collecting coins, all of it. So good. Getting those little green stars. Whatever goofy currency they decide to infuse their latest game with, it's always like a tiny, terribly potent dopamine rush every time you pick one up. You're like, oh hell yes, another please. But Bowser's Fury, that's where all the fresh new stuff is happening. And it's like it's weird because it's like it's got the open-ended level design of Mario Odyssey, but it's got the mechanical controls for the most part of 3D World. But it's got enemies and ideas from Sunshine. But then it's got because like Bowser himself, he's all black and scary looking, right? That's ink. That's Sunshine ink. That's Sunshine stuff.
Do you have to spray him down?
No, nothing like that.
Thank God.
You just beat his ass.
Worried there. I thought maybe I wasn't going to buy this. Don't worry, I will buy it.
Yeah. So it's like Bowser Jr. from Sunshine, because he even has the brush, and he's just like, you gotta help me with my dad. He's going crazy. And you're like, okay, all right, great. So we go in and we'll just beat his ass often enough until he isn't mad anymore and the size of Godzilla. That's kind of the premise of the story. But so you just explore this king-size toy box, which is like a series of islands in like a lake, I guess. I can't tell if it's freshwater or saltwater. I don't know why this is important to me, but I spent a lot of time thinking about it. I have no answer. Anyways, it's fun. The boss fight's kind of anticlimactic because getting there is kind of more the point. It's not like the boss fight itself. It's more like getting to the boss fights, and you have to do the boss fights several times before you see anything like credits. And
the Super Mario 64 thing. Yeah. Where you got to do it.
You got to kick his ass a few times before you're like, oh, well, I guess he's done. But like, unlike Mario 64, where that boss is locked away behind several doors and a lot of obstacles, and it's very difficult to get to, Bowser is just there constantly, all the time. And as soon as the mood strikes him, he will change the weather and fuck up the entire map and start raining fire down on you wherever you are and shooting his crazy balefire beam that like you need. It's important that he shoots at you because you're standing in front of blocks that are generally hiding more currency. In this case, cat shines. And you use the cat shines to activate the bells to become Super Godzilla Cat Mario, where you just sort of feeding shots at Bowser until he, learns his lesson. Takes a while though,
I love it.
Yeah. No, it's fun.
Okay, so did they? This is an opinion question. Did they decide to make this in the 3D World engine specifically so they could sell this as a full price game again, versus making Bowser's Fury in the Odyssey engine?
I think they could have picked and chose, and they would have more or less been able to make it work. I think they wanted to resurrect this game because it originally came out on Wii U, and they've been on a tear to make sure that every game that came out on the Wii U also comes out on the Switch, because nobody bought the Wii U. Because the Switch eclipsed the Wii U's lifetime sales in the first 5 months. So you better fucking believe that everything that came out on the Wii U is coming out on Switch.
They're basically there at this point. Wait, what's left?
Star Fox.
Okay. Well, does anybody really want that?
Well, okay. To be fair, the thing that made Star Fox Zero so insufferable was the fact that you had to use the second screen to do a lot of the functions, and that's some bullshit. And they'd probably have to, redesign some things if we wanted to bring it back, which might prevent them from doing so. It's the same reason we might never get Skyward Sword getting re-released, because it's so tied to the motion controls. Like, everything about that game's design philosophy and like the layout of it and the maps and everything, the whole game is tied inextricably to the motion controls. So if you take those away with the release on a more modern console, you rip the heart and lungs out of the game and it's unplayable. They'd have to redesign it from the ground up. It's like when they tried.
I mean, honestly, that's what I want out of a Skyward Sword remake. That game fucking sucks. I hate that game.
Yeah, no.
Worst Zelda game they ever made. Well, we're not going to include the CDI ones.
I would say Zelda 2
Oh, no,
is the
that's
worst
a classic.
Zelda game.
That's a classic.
Yeah, but it's like, personally, I think it's worse than Skyward Sword, because Skyward Sword is at least approachable, and you have an idea of what you need to do, and you have a clear path forward, even if that path is stupid. With Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, you're fumbling around in the dark without a map, unless you'll have a guide in front of you the entire time, and even then, it could still be like stupid and frustrating and obtuse.
Oh, definitely.
That game needs a remake. I would love to play a more modern version of Zelda 2. That would rock so hard.
As long as they keep the guy that says, "I am error."
Oh, hell yeah. No, you leave him in.
Gotta be in there. Maybe a sidekick. Promote him to full sidekick. Like Navi. I want error all over the place.
I am error. Yeah.
Rhett's a baby. He's got no idea what we're talking about.
I know. I'm like, you fucking old dogs over here talking about your 1950s Zelda 2. Like, it's dead and buried, boys. It's dead and buried. Skyward Sword, that sucked. I had never played it. I won't say anything about it.
It's frustrating because the even older Zelda game, the very first Legend of Zelda, which came out in like 86, that one is so much better than Adventures of Link that it's like they were made by two different studios.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people get all up in a twist about, because they're like, well, how come this one sucked when the one that came just before it was so good? I'm like, oh, I don't know, man.
It's almost like they churned out a game because they wanted to make some money.
It's like the second Castlevania.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. You don't want that. I'll tell you what you do want, though, and that is if you've got a cell phone or Xbox Game Pass, You want to go and download Donut County right now.
Fuck yeah.
That game is fucking phenomenal. So good.
Yeah. Yeah, I played that a couple years back on the Switch. I think it was actually the first game I bought when I got the Switch. And It is a lot of fun. It's short, but sweet.
Yep. And for those who don't know, the entire premise of this game is moving a hole around the ground and dropping things into it. That's it.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like Katamari in that you get bigger as you grow in size. But
there's like some light puzzle solving based on hole size.
Yeah, like there's no challenge. Katamari, I mean, there was some challenge at points. There's no challenge in Donut County.
But there is some really funny writing. There's some good shit in there. And it's a fun ride for a couple of hours, especially if you can get it for free. It's probably on, well, I don't know this, but maybe it's on Apple Arcade or something. I don't know. Is that even a thing they do anymore?
Apple Arcade?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Well, it might be on there.
The OG Final Fantasy team. Hironobu, I can't remember. The guy who first made Final Fantasy.
Sakaguchi.
Sakaguchi. His studio Mistwalker is making this amazing game for Apple Arcade that uses like, you know how they had like pre-drawn beautiful backgrounds for PS1?
Yeah.
Well, this game, whose name eludes me, uses like actual photographed backgrounds of like models they built, like physical models. Yeah, it's amazing. And it's only for Apple Arcade. It is a strange, horrifying twist of fate that this game isn't coming to like a more accessible platform, because it looks absolutely fascinating.
Watch it blow up though on mobile, and it'll come to some sort of console, PC, something.
I mean, the good news about that is, I think basically all of the Apple Arcade games that you can play on an iPhone, you can also play on an Apple TV. And Apple TV is like $99 or something like that.
That's a good point.
So there's a path. It's not ideal, but. Side note,
all right.
Thinking about the pre-rendered background side of things, has anybody seen that the mod of Final Fantasy IX on PC? The Moguri mod?
I don't think I have.
No.
What's that all about?
Holy shit. Completely changes the game. Because part of what made Final Fantasy IX so impressive in the old days was those pre-rendered backgrounds and how nice they looked on PS1. Unfortunately, they actually lost the original assets from that. So when they have made any kind of remaster or brought it out on new platforms, the backgrounds look like shit because they're so pixelated. But whoever this Moguri character is has used some kind of AI technology to make old shitty pixelated backgrounds look like new hand-painted backgrounds. And it is ridiculous, the quality that this mod has. It's free. Download it, put it on your PC version of Final Fantasy IX. It looks incredible. And I've been wanting to do another playthrough of that game with this mod because it's fucking crazy.
Basically it's my favorite Final Fantasy, and that is like the first one that I really fell in love with.
Yeah.
So
it's so good.
Oh god, so good. You hear that like opening music with like the flute music, and like somebody will like play that somewhere else. I'm like, oh, I'm like tearing up. I'm like, just overcome with emotion, and I just immediately want to play the game again. It's crazy.
It came at the perfect time.
Man,
go ahead, Rhett.
You old timers with your fucking Final Fantasy 9s, fucking 1960s, like, come on. It's dead and buried. Final Fantasy 27's coming out. Or 17.
That's fine. It can come out. I'll play that too. Don't rob me of my childhood, Rhett. Not now.
I would I don't think there's that many years separating the two of us. I find this fascinating. You keep making all these comments like you old fossils
I was waiting, yeah.
born
Yeah.
a handful of years before me.
Well,
Are you even 30 yet?
man, on the 14th.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay,
Unfortunately.
all right, fair enough.
Prepare for your
Yeah.
fucking body to fall apart.
Not like immediately. Sometimes it'll sneak up on you, but yeah, you hit the big 3-0 and
Probably by like Tuesday.
Well, here's the thing.
You're done.
Here's the thing, fellas. By Tuesday,
yeah.
I take care of myself somewhat. I won't start falling apart until I'm mid-30s, I'm going to say.
I got news for you. Anything over 30, that's the mid-30s. According to your body.
Yeah.
It's unavoidable.
Not me, man. I got the body of a taut preteen Swedish boy. I'm healthy as fuck. I could do it all. I could run a marathon.
Could. You could.
Okay.
Not gonna,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, you won't. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's what I figured. You're not that far away from us. Your fossil comments rang hollow. False.
well, we'll just move on to the news then. He's got nothing to
Let's
say.
move on to the news.
We'll let him
Yeah.
marinate
Yeah, I
on
was
that a little
thinking-
bit. Think about the
Instead of just
future.
reflecting on our fucking mortality, let's talk about things that are happening right now, huh?
Fuck. Yeah,
It's all right.
Oh,
30's been
relax,
pretty
it's-
good. 30s have been great.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of grow
Yeah.
into the ruggedness. You start to embrace it. Like, get rid of youth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Couple-
everybody
couple
that
of
has
wrinkles
it
and
together
things.
says.
We
no,
don't
that-
have it together. You just get better at lying about it. It's fine.
And, you know, simple solution, Rhett.
Okay.
Just get it together.
Yeah.
Easy as that, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you say it. You say that, but god damn. Hey, how about that news though? How about that news? How about EA?
Great
EA's
pivot.
been
I
just
love it.
Killing it. Yeah.
EA, do we want to talk about the Mass Effect Legendary?
Mm,
I'm gonna play the shit out of that as an old guy. I'm gonna play the shit out of that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Fossils. I think my dad played Mass Effect. You know, he grew up with that. So
Jesus Christ,
I
it came
understand.
out in 2007, you jerk.
I'm sorry, I'll shut up.
Okay, so here's one of the things that's come up recently is that EA has decided they're going to revive the college football game series. And on the one hand, people are like, oh yeah, rad, I'm going to play with my favorite college team. However, what they're doing is that they are changing the names and likenesses and identities of all the players because they don't want to like pay them in any way for having their likeness in the game, because there's this grand old tradition of screwing college football players out of any sort of compensation, and EA, being the game company that they are, they're not going to rock the boat. They're going to keep on doing this. They're just going to make up, you know, names and shit like that, but like they're going to have the same teams, but like the players are going to be made up, I guess. Like they're not using anybody's likeness, so they don't have to pay any of these college football players, which is I believe some refer to it as bullshit. Yeah.
You said even the teams are going to be made up?
No, the teams are going to be new. They're going to use the
Okay,
teams. They're going to be the same college teams you know, but all the players are going to be like reasonable facsimiles of the ones that you're familiar with, because they can't compensate these people, because it's somewhere along the line we all agreed that college football players don't get compensated. College athletes in general don't get compensated for their work, which is complete hogwash, you know. But like EA is not going to rock that boat because this is EA we're talking about.
But James, they get a quality education as their compensation.
Shut up. They get an American education.
Yep. I don't know. I'm looking forward to playing as quarterback number 7, Biff Hardman. You know?
Oh, fuck. Listen, if they're going to make it so we can just make up everybody, like we can design our own roster, like I'm going to be like, but like this is Jeff Longwood, and this is John Cocksmith. I'm really leaning into it here. But yeah, no, if you're gonna make these people up, like let's go the whole way. Give me like 2 to 6 hours into character creator, and I'll have a team of guys. I don't actually know how many people are on a fucking college football team. Sorry, I was gonna make a number up. I have no idea. I just put that out there right now.
50 something. I am trying to remember. There was like an ice hockey game way back in the day that had some ridiculous rip-off NHL names. I can't remember which one it was, but the names were...
That's the thing. Like sports games, as long as there have been sports games, companies have been doing this. Rights, they're a tricky thing. And EA, they're certainly not the first ones to do this. Although EA are probably the first ones that actually could afford to throw some cash at players. I know that there's bargaining agreements and everything like that, so I don't think that EA could legally pay players, but you know what I mean. It doesn't bode well for EA with their reputation to make this move now, and
because like somebody in like the NFL or whatever, if their face is on the cover of the latest Madden or whatever, they're probably making money for that. They're not just doing it out of the goodness of their fucking hearts, right? But like, a college player can't do that because like there's been this handshake agreement that they never make any goddamn money. Even though like everybody watches college football, they're stars, but they can't capitalize that in any way.
But James, they have the opportunity to go to the NFL draft and make some real money.
Yeah, and get some was it CTE? The one Fusion? Yeah. Some drama.
Just get out of the game before your third season and you'll be all right.
It's a little bit of light drama. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, maybe someday they'll do the right thing. It's not this day.
No. Tomorrow. Maybe. We'll see about tomorrow.
Well, maybe. What else is going on?
Well, E3, ESA, the ESA guys have decided that they're going to make a digital version of the event this year, but they haven't like exactly gotten approval from like anyone exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, according to the interview at Video Games Chronicle, apparently there's still like a participation fee for companies to be in on this thing, and apparently it's like a 6-figure number.
What?
To like be a part of E3, and it's like a part of E3 digital. No, they either have to make it 100 times cheaper to be in on this thing, or they're not having it. It's just gonna be like a bunch of like starving, thirsty influencers and like a couple of companies who are like, yeah, sure, we'll buy up all the ad space, and then the whole thing will just be like a fucking billboard for our games. And it's just like, yes, this is the E3 I remember.
Yeah, it'll be an energy drink ad and I don't know, some anime games.
Yeah, like Jeff Keighley, he's already bailed. He's doing Summer Games Fest again this year. He's never going back to E3 because he's seen the writing on the wall years ago. He knows what's up. And like Sony has no reason to ever go back, and Nintendo has been doing just fine. Like, It's digital. It's digital. It's digital. We don't have to do this. You can just have an agreement with like, hey, this is the time we're going to drop announcements, and then drop the announcements then. And then it's like a big hypey time and everybody has a good time. You don't have to like be on a specific channel that you paid thousands of dollars to be on.
No, there's a literal free channel that you can be on and do that. And companies did that this past summer. Like, I can't count the number of times that we were at Discord-based events where they would, show a thing and then you do some kind of play test thing through streaming service, and it worked just fine. And it cost them $0. So why would anyone do this?
Yeah, cost them a whole lot less than it would to go to E3. Yeah. I think we're seeing the old death knells of that service, unless we can start gathering at some point in the future, and then probably it's still going to collapse because it turns out that when you're competing with 30 other companies for airtime to announce your shit, not as many people see the announcement. But if you space it out over the course of a month, then if you're the only person talking that big game news on June 17th or whatever, then you have all the airtime. Everybody's watching. Everybody cares. Everybody's pre-ordering. Your companies are fucking up the pre-orders and telling everybody the names and dates of the games weeks before they're announced. Stupid. Thanks again, Walmart Canada, doing the Lord's work.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
It's like, what if I told you that there are lots of days, plenty of them out there. Everybody can have their own day. That's totally okay. We've got plenty, and we've got nothing going on. So, hey, let's all just have a day.
As an aspiring games journalist, I would love it if it was all concentrated into a few days, and then I could book the time off, stock up on alcohol and junk food, and just like camp out in a little cocoon that is my computer and pump out articles for days. But there's no reason for companies to do that. It doesn't benefit them in any way. It's way better if they just carve out their own space so they're not competing for attention, which is the currency that we're all fiending for now.
Yeah. Well. Happy memories, but it's in the past.
Hey, PAX is probably going to keep on rocking. So if anybody wants
PAX
to do a crazy event, you got PAX.
Yep. That's true. That's true. If you really want, tens of thousands of people in a crowd after COVID.
Yeah.
Be my guest.
I'll dive right in.
Mike and Jerry's empire is thriving. It's doing good. They're doing fine.
Yeah, Rhett's gonna dive right in, see his people, see his fans, really make the most of his last few years of viability.
Yeah, head first into the crowd. Hopefully everybody will cough in my face.
Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I'm never going to one of these events without a face mask. Ever again. All right? Heads up. I'm going to have a cool cyberpunk looking one. Razer's mask for gamers, the N95 mask for gamers with the RGB lighting. I'm going to wear that shit to any event I go to. Mm-hmm. I'll have a cyberpunk soundtrack playing out of speakers wherever I go. It has a voice modulator so I can just sound like Bane all the time. Fucking.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
They did say people in your age group were at the highest risk, right? So that's probably a good call.
There's 6 years between the two of us, you fucking monster. I don't want to hear it.
I respect it. That was a good one.
That one was just hanging there.
It was.
Yeah. Hey, you know what else happened recently?
I don't.
Is that Warner Brothers Interactive finally succeeded in putting a patent on the Nemesis systems. You know, the one that's in like the Mortar games.
Ugh.
Because they're like, well, we want this to be ours and ours alone, which is like the most tone deaf thing they've ever done. And they're pretty evil. Like, they give all the other companies a run for their money. People don't talk as much about it, but Warner Brothers Interactive is like absolutely draconian in like the evil shit they're willing to do for an extra buck. And they're like, no, nobody else can use the Nemesis system now but us because we patented it, which shows that they don't really understand how game mechanics work.
Who let them patent it?
They've been trying for years, apparently.
But who finally said, yes, this is not a patentable thing? Like, they're unless they've, you know, patented the actual algorithm that generates, I don't know, like groupings. But somebody else could just write a different algorithm to do the same thing.
Yeah,
theoretically.
It seems like it's not exactly airtight. Like, it seems like there's a lot of wiggle room in copyright court. I think it just be like somebody else could, oh, well, my system is called adversary, and it assigns these values based on the day of the week and the time of the day and what kind of crops were thriving during this particular season. You know what I mean? Like, you would just change a couple of factors and it would be fine. Like, copyright law is both draconian and extremely specific. You know?
Yeah.
You have to really put in a lot of money to be like, oh no, we're getting this and this and this and these and that things, and anything that looks like this, anything that this shaped, this color in conjunction with it, you know what I mean? You have to put in a lot of legwork to make sure that nobody else can use the system that you're trying to get your claws on, right?
I mean, the Nemesis system is awesome. It's absolutely the best part of those games.
Yeah.
So, would I like to see it other places? Totally. Am I going to now? Maybe. I honestly expected to see that system all over the place in the few years following Shadow of Mordor, but that didn't turn out to be the case.
Maybe it's either not as cool as we thought it was, or not as popular as we thought it was, or maybe people have been trying to steal the Nemesis system and they just haven't been able to. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was a proof of concept more than anything.
Yeah.
And someone could have built it out, but they haven't. And now their window might have passed because it's patented.
Yeah.
Unless you want to give me a third Mordor game, I'd be all right with that.
Yeah, if you're gonna put a lock on that system, you are now obligated to put out products that use it all the time.
Yeah,
that's how your draconian ass copyright laws work, right? You have to have products in the atmosphere, in the ether. You know, it has to be out there, right? Or else.
I mean, imagine a Nemesis system in like a Gotham Knights. That would be rad.
Mm-hmm. Very, very much.
Will they do it? I doubt it.
Don't they have to? Like, isn't that why Mickey Mouse has to put out a thing with his face on it every once in a while, just so they don't fucking lose the rights or whatever?
Lose the Mickey?
Isn't that the excuse they trot out all the time? Or is just like, we have to make this thing so that we can keep an iron-fisted grip on it forever, you know?
We opened up the Disney vault.
Yeah. We combined your two most beloved characters that tested the best with our audiences into one for our next movie. Rhea and the very advanced algorithm. Anyways.
I was like, just waiting for the movie title. Come on, James.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
It's the one. It's the next one they're doing. The dragon has the eyes and face of Elsa from Frozen. They're deep in the machine now.
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I'd give it a shot.
Yeah.
So what else is going on? It sounds like there's been some Google fuckery.
Yes. So I saw this Twitter thread and I didn't realize who it was that had gotten fucked over. But the guy, the guy who, one of the guys who makes Terraria, like the lead developer or something, was locked out of his Google accounts. So his YouTube channel, so his email accounts, everything is locked out. He can't access any of it. It's all lost until they do something about it. And it's been this way for a month. And so, and he was like, he was calling them out on Twitter. It was like, hey guys, hey Google, hey, it's me, this guy who has money and time and effort invested in your platform and is producing this product that will boost your market share. I need your help. I'm locked out. I'm getting fucked over. I need assistance. And they iced him out. They didn't say anything. So finally this weekend, he was like, fuck you guys. Fine. Terraria is not coming out in Stadia anymore. What do you say? Looks like you should have answered faster, you fucking losers. So now their struggling garbage streaming platform is in even more trouble because a very popular game will no longer appear on it.
And that's not the only thing that happened to Google this past week or so. They actually shut down Stadia Game Studios to the surprise of literally no one.
Yeah.
Like, did they
of course nothing was going to come out of that. Jesus.
Right? Yeah, I was going to say, there was nothing like in the pipeline. There was nothing announced, nothing coming from that studio. Yeah.
I mean, they probably had hired a bunch of high profile people who were then, investigating game engines for a few months. And then they realized, we don't really care about this. Send you to the graveyard.
So how long until Stadia follows suit?
Oh, it won't be long. This year.
Won't be long? This year, you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not taking. Nobody gives a fuck.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Well, because, like, what they had on offer was shit that was already out on other platforms. So, like, buy the access to this game again so you can stream it from any Google device. I'm like, okay, but I have a machine that plays Tomb Raider right now in my house. I have 2 machines that play Tomb Raider in my house right now. 3 for me, strictly speaking. I don't need a 4th, Like, I don't need another machine that plays Tomb Raider, which, as you recall, was like...
They all probably play them better, too.
Yeah.
But James, what if I told you that you could buy the ability to play Tomb Raider on a machine that doesn't actually play Tomb Raider? You're buying the opportunity to play Tomb Raider on a service that we could cancel at any moment. Full price.
Yeah. I have enough money invested in nebulous bullshit systems with Steam. Thank you very much. I don't need another one.
God. Can you imagine the backlash? If Steam were shut down.
If Gabe just takes his ball and goes home, I lose fucking $1,000 worth of purchases. Easy. I'm lowballing it so hard. It's probably more. It's $1,000 if every game I've ever purchased was worth no more than $5.
There's triple digit games that I have never played on Steam.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So basically, they can never shut down, which is fine. They won't. Gabe is sitting on a mountain of gold. It's not going anywhere.
And they keep breaking the current players record.
Yeah, 26 million?
Yeah.
I think that's the most recent number, 26 million.
They ain't going nowhere.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Not as long as the gravy train keeps going.
Before we move off of this cloud gaming topic, this has made me think real quick. I wanted to mention that I tried the Hitman 3 cloud demo on the Switch. Because I figured, man, this is going to be a fucking joke, right? This will be a complete joke. It's actually pretty good. it looks pretty good. It runs pretty well. I'm like, is this the answer to these kinds of games being on the Switch? There's a slight delay in input, but it's really not too bad. Man, for anybody that like actually wanted to play those games on the go, I was really surprised that it seems pretty playable.
Hitman is perfect for that because it's not a pixel perfect, timing based anything. It's about messing around. So, a third of a second delay or something like that is no big deal in Hitman.
For sure.
Interesting.
The only thing I would say is if you're at the point where you're going for those silent assassin runs, at times those games do require the controls to be perfect for you to be flawless in what you do, or the entire run will be messed up. So I don't know if people would find that to be too difficult in certain situations. Like I'm thinking about, man, that Colorado silent assassin, you could not make one mistake doing that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But compared to something like Blood Money or Absolution back in the day when Hitman was Hitman, those games required ridiculous precision to get silent assassin.
Yeah.
But especially in these Hitman 3 levels, if you follow a mission story, you're getting silent assassin.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it certainly does feel like it's less tied to the overall performance, more so to your like objectives, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean it's more up to you. If you want to not do a mission story and still get silent assassin, it can be very challenging. But it's up to you to build that challenge, or it's up to you to use the level designing feature to build that for somebody to do. But
cool. Sorry to go off.
Then again, that's kind of what the elusive targets are for. So,
yeah.
Looking forward to those popping back up this month. Sounds like.
Will there be a new one? Or
that's what it sounds like.
Okay. So I'll have to get it this month then. Can't miss those.
Yep. Elusive targets, escalations, some free, some in the deluxe pack or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But it sounds like they've got the pipeline ready. They're ready to rock and roll. Love it.
Cool.
In other news, we posted this on the site today, so that's several days ago at the point that you're listening to or seeing this. But it sounds like the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 reveal is coming this weekend. And it's coming as part of a concert? Some kind of orchestra event?
Is it the team that did the first part?
The person who's talking about this is the remake's co-director, Matomu Toriyama, who said that, what did he say? There will be a special part of the concert where I'll make an appearance and talk about a few Final Fantasy VII Remake contents to be revealed only during this event. So please tune in.
Interesting. Predictions?
That could be anything. That could be a big fat nothing burger, because good God, do they ever love to just hype things up like, oh yeah, we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. Not like new shit, but things that you didn't know prior to this event. So watch, and I will reiterate things you did know for 90% of the runtime, and then for just like a moment, just with a little slice, but like, hey, guess what? It's happening. It's in development. It's coming. Here's my prediction. I'll be pleasantly surprised if there's a full trailer during this event, but I will be surprised is the important thing. Very surprised. I think we might get some conversation about it, but I don't know. But hey, if it's a trailer, that's amazing. The downside is it's going to be all cinematics. It's going to be all pre-rendered stuff. So we're just going to be like, get a little taste of the story, which for those of us who were alive and playing video games in the 90s will be probably kind of familiar.
I understood that reference.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a buddy playing through the original Final Fantasy VII right now. So he's got as much of an inside pipeline on Remake's future developments as the rest of us do, because it's going to be that for the most part.
I'm expecting like maybe one screenshot or a render of a character that we will expect to see in the second part. You know, a Vincent Valentine or something. One render. I don't think that there's going to be much of a trailer or anything. They made so much money on this first part of the remake. There's no way they just drop a trailer in the middle of some obscure concert. Unless they do.
It depends. Because here's the thing. I haven't looked into this, so I'd have to find out specifically what kind of concert it is that we're looking at, because sometimes original series composers will do live performances of like the most classic songs, and I would say that was more than just like some kind of concert. I would say that's like probably a pretty big event wherever it's held, and people are probably making a pretty big deal out of that event. Like if I could see Nobuo Uematsu performing live renditions of like all of his best songs from the series, I would probably pay a pretty significant amount of money for that privilege.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I guess scope is the real question here. How far does it go? In true Square Enix fashion, it's very cryptic. It could mean anything.
Orchestra World Tour.
I'm gonna go with 12 minutes of gameplay followed by a 90-minute Q&A after the second half of that concert. But obviously, there won't be anybody there that cares about Final Fantasy. So, you know.
I mean, way to cover the bases. We now have all three phases of potential reveal covered.
Exactly.
So we can say that we predicted
cautiously,
it, regardless of what happens.
Cautiously optimistic.
There's your next YouTube video too. Yo, we predicted, or we come listen to us successfully predict the, I don't know. It'll probably just end up costing us more fans.
I mean, I just need a really trolly title. Really.
Right? We have the first bit of Final Fantasy VII Part 2 remake footage.
I'll put a non-Final Fantasy VII.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll put a non-Final Fantasy VII character into the thumbnail. You know, it'll be Cloud standing back to back with Squall from FF8. And put hot FF7 remake Part 2 news is the title.
Wow.
It'll get
Watch
so many
these
clicks.
Two characters bareback fuck in the reveal trailer for remake Part 2.
That's hot. That's hot.
Okay.
Yeah, fan fiction ahoy. I'm sure. Yeah. You know, yeah, obviously.
Listen, somebody who's listening to this right now is Googling that exact thing to see if it exists. And God, I hope they leave us a voice message, because I mean, I'm curious.
Listen, Rule 34 holds true, basically no matter the circumstances. If it exists, there is porn of it.
Mm-hmm.
That is the rule.
I'm
curious what the 33 rules are that led to Rule 34, but
truly. Some sick people. Sick people.
Yeah.
Developing this scale. Does it end at
33 of
34?
I hope not.
Listen, this is some deep cut, nasty 4chan lore. I'm not going to get into it. I don't really want to know what the other rules are. I would prefer to remain in the dark.
Fair.
All right, James, you keep your secrets.
I will.
And we'll move on to this last piece of news, which not sure if you guys saw, but well, it's not really news. But the internet's maybe video games hottest influencer or most popular recent influencer, Alana Pierce, is pretty much a dead ringer for Resident Evil Village's Vampire Lady. She did some cosplay and played through the demo and basically looks exactly like the Vampire Lady, except maybe not 9.5 feet tall.
Wait, I've never met Alana Pierce. I don't know how tall she is in real life. Could be 9.5 feet. Listen.
That'd be an interesting choice of career if you are 9.5 feet tall to be a journalist.
Yeah. I ain't kicking you out of bed if you kick the TV off the
person.
nightstand, you know? It'll be all right.
Yeah.
Now, did she put she did put the photos up, right? She already was wearing the costume?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 'Cause yeah, I just saw like the just the face. I wasn't sure if she did it all, but yeah, like you said, dead ringer for sure.
I think that the eventual total archives of cosplay content specifically related to this character whose name I have conveniently forgotten, Vampire Lady, will be enormous in scale. Like there's going to be so many photo sets of just different people trying their hand at being 9.5 feet tall and in this classy gear. It is a very classy outfit, you know. It's just like the cool big hat and like the beautiful form-fitting dress, the whole mess, the whole 9 yards. I think we'll have created ourselves a sort of Library of Alexandria of hot, tall vampire ladies. I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make this thing for ourselves, and it's gonna have a massive, significant digital footprint. This will be a new corner of the internet. I think this vampire lady is gonna join BOWSER'S as some real Hall of Fame cosplayer characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Apparently the Vampire Lady's name is Lady Dimitrescu.
Yeah, I was not going to pull that off the top of my head.
Like, no.
No.
What? How do we even know that is accurate? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'll bet you that 9.5. What is it? 9'8" is she?
9'6".
9 feet 6 inches.
I'll bet you that is the shortest height that she is throughout that game. I'll bet you that you're going to fight her at the end of it, and she's going to be 30 feet tall, 50 feet tall.
Ooh, hey. It could be.
Another great prediction.
I mean, there's some evidence out there that perhaps the Resident Evil 8 maps are quite large, which would support a giant vampire lady chasing you around.
Ooh, scary. That's going to be a good game. Very, very good. We got a release date on that?
Looking forward to it.
Sometime in May.
Oh, it's that soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You got to get hammering that refresh button, buddy.
I know. It's this arthritis. It's been difficult. It's kicking up.
This is your last week, man. Next week, it's going to be 10 times as hard. So you got to double down right now while you're young.
Your mouse clicking fingers are going to start seizing up and curling like claws.
For sure.
Double clicks are so much harder for me now.
Just a shrunken monkey paw by the end of it. By the end, unable to manipulate utensils.
just
Mortality.
Just kind of shove a fork in between. Yeah. So act fast.
I'm actually fucking. Man, I can't do this. I can't.
Yeah.
I might as well be 100. I feel old. I feel like I'm, 30 next week, 60 the week after that. It's all gone by in the blink of an eye, and it seems like it's only speeding up.
Yeah, that's a phenomenon that occurs.
Yeah.
You know what they say, with age comes wisdom. So still waiting for that.
Maybe
if you could,
maybe you get a little older and you smarten up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really
respect your elders.
For sure.
Yeah.
Stop hanging out with
Some
that
of that.
crowd I've been hanging around.
Yeah.
Serious attitude adjustment.
Quit playing dice games behind the 7-Eleven, Rhett.
Okay. I mean,
No?
That's going to be a tough one to give up. But I
Quit
think
playing as many dice games as at the 7-Eleven.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's what I was going to say. I think in my 30s, I
Right?
could probably cut back on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm.
One a week, it's fine. Saturdays.
One dice game or one session of dice games? Let's be specific here, because it makes a difference.
For sure. I would say one session of dice games, because obviously I'll take that and I'll turn that into a 36-hour game every time. You got to spend money to make money. Oh, yeah.
You do.
Just remember Hades, Rhett. We don't want to have to send you back to HA.
I'm about ready to throw it out the window, but I know I won't because I'm addicted.
If you throw it out the window, you'll be attached to it. That's all I'm saying.
For sure.
I don't think you can give it up at this point.
You heard it here first, folks. Rhett's ringing endorsement of Hades. One for the ages.
Yeah. Hey,
literally can't put it down.
For sure. If I reviewed that game, I would have said Hades. At least it's not heroin.
That's an interesting point, actually, because depending on when I had written the review in my experience with Hades, the content of it would have been vastly different. Like, I wrote the review after completing it, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. But if I had waited until 20, 25, 50, who knows? It could have been a very different score. So one of those games.
What did you end up giving it?
92 or something like that.
I mean, that's pretty
perfectly
high.
appropriate.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
The right number, in my opinion.
Yep.
It's crazy. I'm 130 hours in and still seeing new stuff. Man.
Like, how is that even possible?
I know they've said that there's not going to be DLC for that game, but how could there not be? It's the biggest thing they've ever done. That fucking game beat like Last of Us 2 for Game of the Year. And like,
yeah,
how could they not do some sort of DLC for that?
I mean, listen, there's so much content in there already.
Fair.
Would you even know if they released DLC? If they posted on Twitter and said, "Hey, there's DLC," you'll see it after you've beaten Hades 50 times. Would you know?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Very good point. I just am worried about the day when there is nothing left and I have nothing more to satisfy the craving. So where do I go next? I feel like that's where
a different game, Rhett.
Yeah.
Kentucky Route Zero, man. You gotta completely throw off the addiction by doing something totally different. And Kentucky will draw you in. Guaranteed.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta bite the bullet.
All right, folks. Well, that's been Press X the podcast, episode 4.3, the face season. We've been people that didn't introduce ourselves at the top of the podcast.
No, did not. We're mystery humans. We're not real. We're figments of your imagination.
It's fine. It's fine. I put our names on the video, so it's fine. Anyway, I'm Paul. That's Rhett and James. They're the guys.
Hey.
We talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
We do very much appreciate you listening to us. We'd love to hear from you. Come see us on Twitter.
Tell us all the things.
Yeah, comment on YouTube. Send us a voice message on Anchor. That's apparently a thing. And yeah, Anchor is our podcast host.
Oh, I love Anchor.
Yeah. Good recovery. Love it. Good job, bud. Can't wait to see what your memory and cognitive skills are like next time when you're on the other side of 30.
Oh, man. I'm
a little worried. Not gonna
put me
lie.
in a home now. Yeah, it's over.
Okay.
If you two are anything to
take
go
away your
off of,
responsibility.
it's over. So,
Zing! All right, thanks everybody. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Nothing like a little casual ageism.